This is lesson 5, part 2. Now, this is the guided practice. This is Cornelia and her jewels. Now, it doesn't give us a little box at the top to tell us who the characters are, but I'm just going to let you know. We have Cornelia, we have Julia, we have Caius and Tiberius, and that looks to be about it. So we only have about 4 characters. The setting is the home of Cornelia. Okay, and you can notice that it has like a lot of different things of what they're doing. They're running or they're bringing something in. Okay, when you do a play, those are the actions you would see the actors doing. Okay, after I'm done reading this, we will talk about the multiple choice questions. In the next part of this video, I will do a separate video on the short response. That will be on page 99, so make sure you please check that out for a little bit of a starter. Okay? All right, so Cornelia and her jewels. My dear Julia, I am so happy you have finally brought your jewels to show me. See, here is my pearl necklace. How lovely! And what other gems have you? I greatly delight in seeing your such beautiful jewels. Oh, me too. Here are some rubies. And this is my finest jewel, a diamond bracelet. I liked it best of all. But Cornelia, where are your jewels? All of Rome knows how rich your famous father, Scipio, was. Surely he gave you many fine gems. Oh, no, dear friend. But hark, I think I hear my sons. Mother, dear mother! Tell me, Caius, what did you learn at school today? We learned how Horatius guarded the bridge in the brave days of the old. Wasn't that very noble, dear mother? Of course, my darling. And what about you, Tiberius? Our teacher told us grandfather Scipio and his great deeds during the war. Mother, how you must honor grandfather. Yes, my son, such a life is a fine example for the young. I shall try to be a brave man some day too, dear mother. And I shall also try to be worthy of our noble family. Oh, my dear boys. Julia, they are my jewels, more precious than any gem. How I am ashamed of my vanity, dear Cornelia. What are all the gems in the world compared with these noble boys? So, what we're talking about in this is how basically Cornelia is saying that her children are better than any jewels. Okay, and many parents know that they do. Their children are very precious to them, and they would do anything for them. Okay, so close reader habits. How do Julia and Cornelia feel about Cornelia's jewels? Reread the drama, underline sentences that show what each character thinks or feels. So, you can rewind the video, listen to the story one more time if you would like. Otherwise, just kind of follow along, and I will give you the little notes version, okay? So how do Cornelia and Julia feel about the jewels? Well, who does Cornelia feel are her jewels? I just talked about it, okay? And it is in line 15. Oh, my dear boys, Julia, they are my jewels, more precious than any gem, okay? This is how she feels about Cornelia's jewels, okay? About her own jewels. They're precious than any gem. And Julia then feels, okay, well, she's a little ashamed of her vanity, meaning like her, selfishness, highly thinking of herself and how she has all these jewels and she's showing them off, okay? She's kind of shameful of that now. And she says, what are all the gems in the world compared with these noble boys? Okay, so those are how they feel about Cornelia's jewels. Now we're going to use a little bit of that information to help us answer some of these questions, okay? So we have 3 multiple choice questions. One has 2 parts. Excuse me. So, which comparisons of Julia and Cornelia are true? Select 2 options, okay? Remember, guys, look for those keywords. 2 options. That means I should have 2 answers, okay? It says, Julia thinks jewels are fun to admire. Cornelia does not. Julia is from a noble family. Cornelia is not. Julia talks about her children. Cornelia does. Julia believes history is important. Cornelia does not. Julia has many fine gems and jewelry. Cornelia does not. And Julia is impressed by Cornelia's sons. Cornelia is not. Okay, we got a lot of Cornelia is not. Well, let's go through and find the things that we know it can't be. Let's start with the last one. Julia is impressed by Cornelia's sons and Cornelia is not. Well, that's the total opposite because Cornelia feels that her jewels are her sons. So it cannot be F. Okay? That wouldn't make sense. Julia has many finds of gems and jewelry. Cornelia does not. Is this true? Well, in the beginning, if I look in line, let's see, 1 and 3, it says in 1, it's talking about the setting, but it says Julia is carrying a treasure chest. And then line 3 says she's opening, the chest. And she's showing all the jewels off. So she does have many fine gems and jewelry. And Cornelia, remember, doesn't have those. She thinks who is her her gems or her jewelry in this case, okay? Her children. Okay, so that could be the answer. Julia believes history is important. Cornelia does not. Well, we don't get any insight into what Julia believes about history. But Cornelia stated in line 12, yes, my son, such a life is a fine example for the young. She's talking about the grandfather and the history of his deeds. And so she's basically saying that history is kind of important. But this part negates it right here because we don't know what Julia thinks about the history. Julia does not talk about her children. Cornelia does. Okay. In the story, did Julia have children? Well, we don't know because it doesn't talk about them. Does Cornelia talk about her children? Yes, because she says they are my jewels, more precious than any gem. Okay, B. Julia is from a noble family, Cornelia is not. Well, we know that the part that's going to negate this is Cornelia is not. We know she's from a noble family because Julia had said how in line 5 that her famous father, talking about Cornelia's father, was famous. Okay, they from a royal family. Julia thinks jewels are fun to admire. Cornelia does not. Now, this could be a tricky one, okay? This is wrong. This is not going to work because Cornelia does kind of admire jewels even if she doesn't have them. And in line 4, she says, how lovely. And what other gems have you? I greatly delight in seeing such beautiful jewels. That means she thinks they're fun to admire. So even though she doesn't have them, she thinks they're fun to admire. Okay, so that left us with C and E. All right, our 2-part question. How are Cassus and Tiberius most similar? So how are the kids similar now? They like learning how Horatius guarded a bridge long ago. They enjoy history more than any other subject at school. They respect their grandfather and want to be like him. Or they think Horatius and Scipio were equally brave. Now, only one of them, mentioned Horatius guarding the bridge. So we can't say they both like learning it because only one of them says something about it. They enjoy history more than any other subject at school. Well, you might say yes, but just because they didn't talk about any other subject doesn't mean that they don't like them, okay? They respect their grandfather and want to be like him, okay? This is a good possibility. They both said, the one said, I shall try to be a brave man someday too. And then Tiberius said, I shall also try to be worthy of our noble family. So they are honoring and want to be like him. They think Horatius and Scipio were equally brave. Well, it doesn't give us that comparison, so that is why that does not work. So it leaves us with C. Now, which sentence from the play best supports the answer in part A? So we said they respect their grandfather and want to be like him. Well, the first one says, we learned how Horatius guarded the bridge over the brave days of old. Well, that is not their grandfather, so that's not going to help us. Wasn't that very noble, dear mother? Okay, but doesn't really support it. Well, it's kind of a toss-up. I shall try to be a brave man someday too, dear mother. Okay, so this is talking about that part of wanting to be like him, so that could work. What are all the gems in the world compared with these noble boys? Well, Julia is the one who says this. So that's not going to support how the boys respect their grandfather, because this is Julia talking. It doesn't have anything related to the boys and their feelings towards their grandfather. So we are stuck between B and C. Wasn't that very noble, dear mother? And I shall be a brave man someday. Now, the difference here is this word. Best supports it. I would say the one that best supports it is going to be this, because of the fact that it's saying I want to be a brave man someday, and it supports us saying they want to be like him. Okay, so this is the guided practice for Cornelia and her jewels. On page 99, I will start you on the short response, so please make sure you view that video, and then you will be required to finish that up, and that will be something that we review when you come back to school. Okay, so see you on page 99.